Hello, class. Today, we're talking about the metaphysical meanings of numbers. The metaphysical meanings of numbers is somewhat different from numerology. We will be getting into numerology when we break down each number individually. But today, we're doing an overview of all numbers. So let's get into it. And I want to state this from the very beginning. Everything in nature has gender, even numbers, because even numbers are feminine, odd numbers are masculine. And we will be going by the 0 to 9 numerical system. There's different numerical systems like 1 through 9 or 1 through 10. But for the sake of metaphysics, we will be going from 0 to 9. And a lot of people don't like using 0 because they say it's not a real number, but it can't be a fake number here and a real number here. So let's get into it. But for the first 4 numbers, or from 0 to 4, we will be doing the universal meanings as well as the metaphysical meanings. And from 5 through 9, we will just be doing the metaphysical meanings. So let's get into it. 0 represents the color black. And on a universal level, 0 represents the mother. And on a metaphysical level, it represents matter, aka ether. 1 represents the color red. And on a universal level, 1 is the sun, represents the sun, and that's a double entendre. And on a metaphysical level, 1 represents God, the universal one, the creative force, the grand architect of the universe, the one who creates with no hands. 2 represents orange. And on a universal level, 2 represents Ma and Son, aka Mason. 2 on a universal level represents moon and star. And 2 on a metaphysical level represents body and soul. That's you and God, you and your relationship with God. And 2, when it's 11, 1 plus 1 equals 2. 11 is the master number, and it represents spiritual awakening. 3 represents the color yellow, and the color and 3 represents mother and father creating son. 1 plus 1 equals 3. That's the only time 1 plus 1 equals 3. When you and your mate come together and you make another life. And on a metaphysical level, 3 represents new life and also represents the 3 missing keys. And 3, when it's 12, 1 plus 2 equals 3, represents perfection. And lastly, on a metaphysical level, 3 represents 3-dimensional because we are 3-dimensional beings. We are mind, body, and soul. And 4 represents the color green. And 4 is when mother and father have created son, and now they have created daughter. And this brings balance on a universal level. Watch this. Here, mother created son, mother and son come together. Son now becomes father at 3. So mother and father, because son has become father, and now they create son. And then lastly, they create mother and father create daughter, the universal balance, the universal cycle. Watch this. Queen creates prince, prince turns into king, and he creates princess, and the entire process starts all over again. That is the universal cycle. Now let's get to 4 on a metaphysical level. And on a metaphysical level, 4 represents balance. Not just on a universal level, but on a metaphysical level, it represents balance. And 4, when it is 22, 2 plus 2 is 4, represents the master builder. And I want to put this in here most definitely. 4, when it's 13, 1 plus 3, because that's been the scariest number we done had. Ooh, 13 represents spiritual revealing. That's why they're scared of the number 13 so much, because 13 represents a spiritual revealing, revelation. Now, let's get to the number 5. 5 is represented by the color blue. And on a metaphysical level, 5 represents meditation, the 5 senses, the 5 elements. 6 represents the color royal blue. And on a metaphysical level, the number 6 represents the incomplete man. But when 6 is the number 33, 3 plus 3 equals 6. 33 represents the Christ number. Jesus died at 33. And it also represents the number for the master mason. Now let's go to 7. 7 represents the color purple. And 7 represents the complete man. And it also represents divine intervention. 8 represents the color pink. And 8 on a metaphysical level represents infinity, separation, and evolution. And lastly, the number 9 represents the color of the rainbow, the entire spectrum. Why? Because the number 9 represents completion, aka higher consciousness. The 9 represents the entire rainbow because you have completed the entire spectrum. You have gone from 0 through 9, and the next number is 10. So that means you're starting over. That's why it represents completion. We've used up everything in the numerical system. Now, I want to do a little bit of numerology before we close class. So let's do it. In the Bible, it says the mark of the beast is 666. 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. The mark of the beast is when you have lived your entire life as an incomplete man, you have become you have become a complete, incomplete man. And think about how many things you have done in your life as an incomplete human being. You have become the beast. That's it. Now, let's get to the number 9. In the Bible, it also says 144,000 shall be saved. Watch this. We don't do the number 0 because 0 adds up to the other numbers. 1 plus 4 plus 4 equals 9. The 144,000 that shall be saved is you when you have reached your completion. You have raised your higher consciousness up and you have become a complete human being. You have reached God level. That's all it means. Now, this has been the metaphysical meanings of numbers. That's all I have for today. Class dismissed.